So comic book collectors go to a lot of different places trying to find comic book deals. Maybe your LCS has some comic book deals. Maybe there's a garage sale down the road. Maybe you find something online. But maybe you also go to antique shops. Well, I went to a couple of antique shops and I got what I think are some cool books. And maybe I got some deals. Maybe not. Let's see. Stay tuned for the video.
Anachronic.
Hi comic book guys and gals, I'm Joe and welcome to Anachronic Comics. So I did go to a couple of antique shops down here in Florida. I try to get down to them at least once while I'm down here. One of them is called Treasure Island. It's right here in Naples, not too far away. And the other one is Gannon's Antiques, which is up in Fort Myers. A little bit of a ride, but not too bad. But it's a huge place. A lot of little toys there too, which are very tempting, but I didn't buy any this time. But I did get some comic books. And so let's take a look at them and let's see what I got. Well, the first one, and I didn't bag and board them yet because I don't have any here in Florida, but I will. So they might not be in the best bag and board, but I'll do the best that I can to show them to you. The first one is Zane Grey's Stories of the West. This is number 28. All right. And it was the first issue of this series was number 27. And it's basically stories of the Old West. And Zane Grey wrote a lot of books. He was born in 1872, passed away in 1939. And he was an author of 85 books about the West, the Wild West. They were basically adventure novels, and everybody back in the 40s, 50s, whatever, was very much into Zane Grey. The Zane Grey Theater, if I recall correctly, was even a TV show for a while where they adapted some of his books. So the comic books were adapted. As I mentioned, number 27 was the first of this series because the first 26 were part of the Dell 4-color series. So this adopts two of his books, The Outlaw and The Ranger. They were part of the 1915 novel called The Lone Star Ranger. So let's see. So I paid $4.25 for this book. A 5.0, which is kind of my guesstimate on this, might be less, I don't know, is on Comic Book Price Guide, is listed in the raw state as $9. So maybe I double my money on this, but again, I just got it because I thought it was cool, painted cover, and I just like the cowboy shooting from underneath. You used to see these things in like the Roy Rogers show and a lot of other westerns when I was a kid that were on TV. So the second book I picked up was Indian Chief number 14. I'll put it over here. Let's see. Yeah, okay, that's good. Indian Chief number 14. Indian Chief number 14 was from April of 1954, and the actual series ran from 1950, which was a test issue, simply entitled The Chief, as part of the 4-color series through 1959 for a total of 33 issues. So number 14, the main story pencils and inks were by a fellow named John Daly, and I paid $1.50 for this. Beautiful painted cover. Look at that. It's coming right at you. This is the White Eagle, who was the star of this particular comic book. So again, I paid $1.50, and this is more like a 3.0, I'd say, and 3.0 is worth about $5. So again, probably good price for this one. Okay, the next one is a little bit more complicated here. It's a very thick book. I don't know if you can see how thick it is there. And again, on this side, here we go. I like that. All right, so this is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, number 13, illustrated by Robert Hicks. It's a Thorpe and Porter book. They're people that imported United States books into the into the United Kingdom. So this book is actually a UK book. As you can see from the cover, it cost 1 shilling and 6 pence. That's the cover price. Don't tell me how much. I can't tell you how much that was at that time. Some of these covers were painted. These classic illustrated covers were painted. This one was a line cover. It was actually a variant cover. There were so many different versions of this. I really can't be sure. There were other versions from 1952, and I think this might have been the 1952 one, but it could also have been the 1956 one. Any event, a 5.0 for this went for $35. So it's not a bad price, and I paid $15 for this one. So 35 to 15, not bad. Now, the final book that I picked up at the antique shops was a character from the 1940s, I guess it is, mostly. I don't think he existed in the 1950s. But he was really the precursor to the Atom from the Silver Age, the small Atom, and Ant-Man. And I was always intrigued by the covers and what I saw on some of the websites about him. And he is Doll Man. This is a really cool cover. The bad guy's throwing him into a bucket of cement. So I don't know if Doll Man can get out of this one. So anyway, 52 pages, just like most Golden Age comic books. This Doll Man was from 1948. It was number 19, and it was published by Quality Comics. You can't really see it up there that well. Quality Comics, right? So Quality Comics was a publisher that published Plastic Man, Kid Eternity, and a bunch of other comic books during the 1940s and the 1950s. This particular comic book was, the cover artist was Bill Ward, and the writer was Joe Millard. The inside was penciled by Bill Ward as well. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Quality Comics before I tell you a little bit more about this particular book. So Quality Comics was an American comic book publishing company, and it operated from 1937 to 1956. And like I said, a lot of Golden Age characters that you may know about today were published by Quality Comics, including Plastic Man. Now, they also reprinted the newspaper strips from Will Eisner's Spirit in the 1950s. As everybody knows, in the 1950s, comic book kind of started having a downward spiral. And of course, this affected a lot of comic book companies, including Quality Comics. So in December of 1956, I believe it was, DC bought out the properties from the comic book company, Quality Comics, except for Black Hawk. Black Hawk was first leased to DC. And as you know, DC published, or National Periodical Publications at the time, published Black Hawk going way back into the 1950s. But Black Hawk was finally bought by DC. Now, buying Quality Comics and all of their characters, DC only continued to publish 4 of them. Though they eventually did get to republishing Plastic Man, they didn't do that immediately. But immediately they published Black Hawk, GI Combat, which I have plenty of, and there's a really good title, really good war title, Heartthrobs, and Robin Hood Tales. So, according to DC Canon, the official Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover index indicates that the Quality Comics characters appeared in 2 realities in the DC multiverse. Earth Quality is what they called it, and Earth X was where they also appeared. Now, it's difficult to talk about the value on this. Now, I said I really wanted to have a Doll Man comic. For example, a 2.0 of this in a raw copy would be about $40, and a 5.0 about $114. This one's not in the greatest of shape, but it might be like a 2 or a 3.0. So I paid about $20 for this comic, but the reason I paid $20 for this comic is because it's missing 3 of the center folds, so 6 pages altogether, and it affects 1 story, a Doll Man story, and then a secondary story by another character. So I picked it up anyway because I wanted one and I wanted to look through this. So I might be channeling my internal Jerry the Jitterbug, and I might be able to find another one, maybe without a cover, where I might be able to find those center folds and make one complete comic out of it. But if not, that's fine. I got my cheapo Dollman comic, and that's really what I was looking for. So that's it. I picked up 4 comic books at 2 antique shops here down in Florida. 4 comic books that I liked, either because of the history behind them or because of the covers and the drawings on them. So I'm pretty happy with the pickups, notwithstanding the prices, but I think I might have done okay. Well, that's the video. Thanks for watching, guys. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Be well, and I'll see you soon.